I'm very honored to be moderating this session with a talented bunch of panelists. Let me not waste further time and introduce my panelists. Padmini Pandey, guys, from Studio Padmini Pandey. She's an architect and interior designer. She has 20 years of experience in the field. Since the past 9 years, she has been in the business and started a company 9 years ago, which is called Studio Padmini Pandey. She specializes in hospitality design, luxury homes, standalone villas, a lot of international projects as well, and some beautiful projects that you will see in the coming segments. Hi, Padmini.
Hi, Ali. Thank you. Thank you for these wonderful, kind words. Hello, friends. I'm looking forward to spend some good 1 hour with you, and I hope it's interactive and informative. We are very excited, and I hope you are excited as well as we proceed further. Thank you.
Thanks, Padmini. The next on our panel is Purvi Kamath, a lighting designer. Purvi was born and brought up in Bangalore. She's done her architecture from Bangalore. She has also worked as an architect in Dubai for several years, and at the same time, she's done a master's in architectural lighting from Germany. Purvi has her own studio called The Lighting Narrative, which has started, I think, 3 years ago. And she's also representing a German light company, which is called Licht. I'm sorry about this, Purvi. But yeah, she's got some amazing work that she's going to be showing again in the next segment. So, Purvi, something from you.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, as excited as you are, let's take this forward. I'm quite curious what comes out of it at the end of the hour. Yes, and the lighting narrative is really new. It's about a year old. We turned a year old last week.
Oh, congratulations on that.
Yeah.
The next on our panel, guys, is Pranav Patel from Ahmedabad. Hi, Pranav. Welcome.
Hi, Ali. Hi.
So Pranav is a lighting designer and his studio is called Zion Design. Pranav did not plan on getting into lighting design ever. In fact, he's done his MET and Masters in marketing and studied and worked in London for almost 11 years. And I think lighting happened on the way. He learned the craft as years passed by. He also did a course in Prague, and now he's doing some massive jobs and some amazing works. So Pranav, over to you.
All right, Ali, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. My first time ever on FOIT, so I'm looking forward. Hopefully, by end of the session, I'm fresh as I'm right now. So let's hope for the best. All the best to all of you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranav. The last on the panel is Pooja Ashley. Hi, Pooja. So Pooja, who is the co-founder of Ashley Design Studio in Mumbai since past 12 years. The studio focuses on interior design and architecture projects such as premium villas, luxury residences, weekend homes, and a lot of architecture projects. She loves product design as well. And Pooja's innate style is understated luxury, enjoys leading and lending exclusive detailing and customization to her projects. Some amazing stuff that we'll get to see in the next segment. Over to you, Pooja.
Thank you, Ali, for the introduction. Looking forward for a very interactive 1 hour. The topic is very, very interesting, and we would love to unfold it as it goes. We'd love to see how it goes. So, looking forward for it.
Absolutely. So, guys, here we are with the entire panel, and I think so. The topic today is light being the fourth dimension in an interior and architecture space. So, I would like the panelists to actually show some of their works. I'll be doing the needful and I'll be letting them talk. So we start with Pranav. Guys, just allow me to share my screen, please. Light being the fourth dimension in an interior space, as well as architecture, of course.
Lighting plays a very, very vital role in terms of, the way people experience and understand the architecture as well as the interior of a particular space. Whether the building or the structures are lit naturally or artificially, lighting is the medium that allows us to see and appreciate the beauty of the building around us, or maybe wherever we are kind of in an interior space. So according to me, it is a very, very vital role lighting which plays in our daily routine, as well as uh, I would say any kind of space wherever we are trying to experience or we are moving around. Uh, there are a couple of images which have just come on the screen also of the project which we've completed. But according to us, there are three major, three key aspects for us when we take into consideration. I mean, when we consider in terms of architectural lighting or an interior lighting space, is aesthetic, function, and obviously the efficiency of the lighting space. Aesthetics are something which we keep into mind in terms of the designers and the users. So they have, I mean, they have to kind of complement in terms of the people using the space, and obviously what is the final intent of a designer for that particular space. Function is very important part also, whereas I know aesthetic is very important, but function is also important. That when a particular space is lit, it has to kind of give a feeling of safety. Like when we are doing lighting for a commercial building, we have to make sure that the space is lit properly, the walls are lit, uh, the alleyways and the passages are lit. The image which you see on the screen right now, it's a hotel, it's a resort, it's a reception part of the resort. But from our point of view, we've kept in mind the aesthetic, which is the part of the chandelier which you see that complements the aesthetic of this space, the interior space. And then we've also introduced the functional lighting which you see in the ceiling. Those are functional lighting which kind of direct you to a particular space. Last but not the least, I would and we would definitely consider is the efficiency of the light. So just introduce the right amount of lighting in a particular space, instead of there's a lot of spillage of light, or light being kind of if I would put it, I'm not sure whether if I'm putting it right or not, but the last thing we would want is the waste of light. So aesthetic, function, and efficiency of lighting placement. All these 3 points, I always and we yeah, this is again a restaurant, whereas we've kept the functional part, whereas wherever you are dining, there is enough light on the dining space. But wherever you are kind of moving around, or the space where you don't need a lot of lighting, we've kept it to the minimum. So that's how I would kind of answer your question.
Thanks, Pranav. Yes, we do not want to use and waste light for sure. So that's where you come in. Absolutely. Thanks, Pranav, for your take.
Thank you.
Next online is Padmini Pandey. Padmini, allow me to share your images. Padmini, over to you.
Okay, hello viewers. So we are talking about light as a fourth dimension in a space. Okay, so I would like to start with the basic. Let's start with fourth dimension. So what is dimension? Dimension is an extent of measure, length, breadth, width. But we know that, right? It's something very technical. But if you want to see it in a creative concept, you can define dimension also as an aspect or a feature in a situation. Like, for example, we always talk about the cultural dimension in a city or a country when we are designing a project in that city or a country. So, as an architect, Ali, can just hold the image, yeah? Just hold the image. So, as an architect, I'm always intrigued by that definition of a dimension rather than the technical, definition. So I'm always intrigued that how can we use lighting design as an aspect or a feature in a space, whether it's an exterior space or it's an interior space. But how can we curate this light or this thing to create a fourth dimension? I'm going to explain what I'm trying to tell you through some images of some project that we just completed a few years back. But before I start to do that, I want to remind all of us that when we speak about lighting design, it is not just about artificial lighting. Lighting design is also about curating and designing the natural light, that is the daylight that we get from the sun. And how can that be curated in any space, whether it's an exterior space or an interior space, to create a fourth dimension. So I'm going to focus on that aspect, the natural light, and how it can be curated in an architecture or an interior space. And give the value of a fourth dimension. So what you see on the screen here is basically this is a resort. This is a Taj Aravali Resort and Spa in Udaipur, and as you can see, it is amidst the Aravali range, and it's a beautiful panoramic view, which is naturally blessed with a beautiful ambience and a beautiful natural landscape. So this was my inspiration. Ali, can we go next? This was my inspiration for the entire project. The surrounding, the natural environment, the background, the landscape was my inspiration for the entire project. Yeah, so now you see this is a lounge bar, and this is the day view. So basically, a bar is more active in the evening. When you see the bar during the day, it's a lazy lounge. But what you see here is that the exterior, the beautiful environment or the background, you see it becoming a part of the interior experience. So what we have done here is that the daylight, okay, which is a part of lighting, okay, as a element in design, you see that we've used the sunlight and the daylight to create an ambience that kind of allows the exterior to become a part of the interior. So the background is basically not a physical part of the interior space, but it becomes a part of the interior experience. And that for me is the fourth dimension. This is how we have used daylight as a fourth dimension in the interior space, where it is not present in the physical form, but is present more in the experience form. And that is the fourth dimension. You can see here that how the background becomes so important and become a foreground during the day. And as we move towards the evening, as we move towards the dusk, now we don't unfortunately have the night view, but you can see this is a dusk view, and you can see the difference. Now, in the earlier images, you saw the background using the daylight becoming a part of the interior experience. But what you see here is as the day proceeds and the bar becomes more active, the background becomes darker. As it goes night, it becomes completely dark, and you see the interior lighting coming to the foreground and interior lighting coming to the glass and forming a facade lighting. And now the interior becomes a part of the natural background, the environment around. So it works both ways. During the day, the natural light adds a fourth dimension to the interior space, and during the evening, the interior lighting, the artificial lighting allows as a fourth dimension to the background and to the external environment. Can we go next? Yeah, now this is the spa of the same project. And as we know, spa is always about coming in sync with your natural being. So it is very important to allow the beauty of the environment outside to be a part of the internal experience. Again, the same concept as we've done in the bar, that we've used the daylight, we've curated it so that if you see the left image, we can see that how the daylight has become a part of the internal experience. This for me is fourth dimension. It is not physically a part of the internal space, but is a part of the internal experience. And we have framed the kind of a landscape using the natural light. But if you see the right, but if you see the right image, what is also important is that you can actually design and curate the natural light, the sunlight as well, when you want to see it in a space. Like when you see the right, that's a lobby of the spa block. We have the entire glass facade. Just to cut down the lighting and to create levels of lighting, we've used on the top part, we've used the traditional jalis of Udaipur, which kind of acts like a sunscreen and it brings in a diffuse lighting. But the lower segment is completely clear and allows more light. So it's not only the artificial lighting, but it's also the natural sunlight that can be designed and curated to create a different dimension in the space. This is something that I think can work right from the planning and the designing stage itself. Yeah, that's my point of view as lighting as a fourth dimension. Thank you.
That was a lovely project and a lovely explanation. I'll move on to Pooja. Pooja, would you like to speak or should I start the slideshow?
You can start the slide. You can just keep it on the first slide.
Done.
Lighting being a fourth dimension, I would not call it a fourth, third, or a first dimension. It's a very integral part in design for us. So right from, if it's architecture, so right from studying the sun part, suppose if it's south, and every light has a different, I would say a different ambience, it creates a different ambience, it creates a different texture, it highlights materials and spaces in a different way. So like we use all kind of lights, right? From north light to the eastern light to the south light. South light being harsh, but can be very beautifully played when we have breakers to it. So it depends, and light is definitely not about artificial lighting. It's an amalgamation of natural lighting and with artificial lighting that creates a magic. Now, when we are in interior spaces, we don't have a lot of options. Like we have to use in the light which is filtering in. So this being an interior panel discussion, I've focused more on interiors over here. You see, this is no decorative lighting over here. This is the Morogni office at Bandra. You have the light falling on the arch. You have the light falling on the table. So it's like the way Pranav rightly said, it's not wastage of light. You have the lighting placed where it is required and it's minimal. So when we always talk about interiors as a minimal dimension, a stylish way, it's similar for lighting. It's not overly lit. It's just there what is required. Can you go next? Yeah, this is the same thing. The light is focusing directly on the table and not elsewhere where not needed. We can go next. This is very dramatic. This is a powder room. It's basically, we don't have any other light except for the decorative lighting, which is here on the ceiling, and everything is black. So it's a light creating a sense of drama. It's a sense of emotion. It's everything. It just evokes a different kind of emotion and a feeling to it. Next. Now this is a lounge. We don't have we have only indirect lightings over here. We have no downlighters, and it's doing the magic with floor lamps, with table lamps. So creating a very subtle environment. In the day, we have a lot of daylight filtering in, which is cut down with shears. The shears are mesh ones because allowing the light to filter in at the same time blocking it till a particular extent. Can go next. Now, this is a very beautiful. The lounge covered spaces behind is the lounge, and this is the terrace to the same lounge. Over here, it's over here. If you see, we've used a stone called lathos, which is on the wall, and it has the lighting fixture inbuilt in the texture of the stone itself. So it's not necessary. Lighting has to be an external element. It can be a part of the decor itself. All floor lamps, the furniture itself over here has lighting. The bar, the seating, the standing floor lamps, they're all outdoor lights. So it's like lighting being an integral part of design itself and not being something external which is used into the surface. So they're being a part of the concept itself. Even the way the whole lighting is going on the pool side and the jacuzzi side itself is very interesting. It creates a very serene atmosphere. And that's yeah. So this is the next image of the same thing. If you see the lighting in the bar, if you see the lighting on the table, the floor lamps, so everything is a part of the design and part of lighting. Yeah, Ali.
Thank you so much, Pooja. It's a lovely project. I love the way you've used the furniture also with light in it. Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pooja. Moving on to Purvi Kamath. Purvi, your take.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. Three different perspectives, and now I think we'll have the fourth perspective on the topic, which is the beauty of the topic. I think it depends on how you see it or how you view it, right? I'd like to speak of an interior space because our topic is predominantly about interiors. And can we move on, Ali, to the next slide, please? Yeah. Okay. So this is an interior space. Let's say, and I chose this example because it does not have any fenestrations, right? No daylight coming in. So let's only talk about artificial lighting. You see, this is an image of a restaurant. Worked on it a couple of years ago. There's a lot happening, right? It's quite kitschy, quite dramatic. You've got these figurines dropping from the ceiling. You've got a whole lot of tables going on. An illumination feature to the left. It's got this projection on the wall way at the back with that person dropping from the ceiling. Right. So this is all painted or visible because there's different lighting elements that you see. You've got these pendants dropping from the ceiling. You've got the projectors. You've got these features in the ceiling. And this sort of space is illuminated because of light. But it's a little bit, I would go to the extent to say it's missing a certain hierarchy because there's a lot happening to your eye, right? When you view it, you're looking at a lot of things. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? What happens if there's no light, right? So without light, as Louis Kahn said, light is the marker of material. So without light, your first three dimensions are gone, right? So, okay, on to the next slide, please. What I do, I turn on certain luminaires, right? I'd like to turn on what's happening in the ceiling, the projectors in the ceiling, the luminaires at the bar, and then slowly you have different surfaces coming to light. And this is also how we mark hierarchy in a space. No? This is your priority. You want your horizontal table illuminated. This is your first priority because it's a restaurant. Next image, Ali. And then you've got a whole lot of features and background coming to light with life. Sorry, coming to life with light, or the other way around. So yes, light, I think I would go to the extent to say, I think light is what gives the three dimensions of interiors meaning. And I think the fourth dimension would be probably the dynamism created by light, because as an interior designer or an architect, you envision a space with a certain amount of light or a certain kind of lighting. As Pooja put, you're talking about light from the north, light from the south. You've got different, you envision a space differently with diffuse light, direct light, where your fenestrations are. But what happens to a space designed with daylighting after the sun goes down, right? So this is the play of interior lighting, and then interior lighting can then do different things. It doesn't necessarily need to do what daylighting does to the space. So yes, this is I would like to question the topic. Yeah, this is my take on the topic.
Thanks so much, Puri, for that. I think that's a fantastic project, as well as, and I'm back.
Can I add, Ali, can I add something to what Purvi just said? That
Absolutely.
yeah, like she made a very good point, which I really like when she said that there's no first dimension, second dimension, fourth dimension, because the first three dimensions don't exist if the fourth dimension doesn't exist. If it's like, I think instead of numbering them as number one, number two, I think if you really have to number them, I as an architect and a designer, I would say the light is probably a zero dimension. And I say this because like like the number zero, which has no value by itself, but when it comes with any number, it multiplies the value of that particular number. And I think light does exactly that to any space. So when light maybe by itself is not as significant, but when it comes into a space and what it does to the space and the kind of visibility it gives to the space, I think it multiplies the effect and the ambience and the experience of that space. So if you have to number it, I would rather give it a zero than a four. I put it for anything else. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys. I think that was a wonderful slideshow where I think the audience has also understood what is the topic. Now, Pranav, the first question is for you. What is the role of lighting, considering absolutely from an architectural or an interior design professional angle per se? What do you think is the role of lighting?
I'm just picking up from what I said previously. Also, I mean, when we talk about role of professional lighting designer for an architectural project or for an architecture, when lighting is added to an architecture, it adds, as rightly said, fourth dimension, but it also adds. I mean, creates an interest in the building. When somebody, I mean, if there is a lighting design, if a building is lit very nicely, it draws attention to that architecture. I mean, people start kind of looking at the architecture at night. A lot of times, when I'm questioned by architects or interior designers, especially by architects, questioning me that what do I do in terms of a profession, in terms of architectural lighting. This is my answer to them, that I do justice to the architecture, the beautiful architecture which you are doing it from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning. So I'm just bringing when somebody puts a question in front of me asking about an architectural lighting, what does an architectural lighting designer do, or what does an architectural lighting do to my architecture? This is what I honestly believe, that we bring with artificial lighting, we bring that architecture to life. We also create an interest. Also, we as an architectural lighting designers, we create a positive environment. People working, as I said in my previous slides, my 4 slides, I was talking about the architecture part, in which aesthetic. Now, aesthetic is where designers and architects focus on the emotional impact the balance of lighting and the architecture will have on an occupant. People who are occupying it, and when it is lit properly, when people start kind of realizing it, that it is kind of a space where uh, they feel positive about where they are and what the environment they are in. So architectural lighting creates pulls people towards that architecture, and a beautiful lighting design creates an awe when people walk inside the building. They create they feel wow about the space. So I feel that the balance of architecture and interior lighting uh, creates a massive impact on a particular space. Uh, and I feel I feel really honored to be part of this forum. Whereas I'm talking about lighting, I would keep talking about architectural lighting and interior lighting as long as I could. But obviously we've got limited time, and the subject is massive. Uh, and people like yourself, Ali, Pooja, Padmini, even Purvi, sharing the platform with people. Great experience you guys have. uh, I'll be kind of glad to share all my experience, maybe on a different platform, where we can kind of discuss it in more of a length. But this is in short, this is what I believe about lighting. And I breathe, live, and I always kind of keep thinking about architectural and interior lighting spaces. That's how I am, and I hope to be like this till I retire. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So thank you.
Hope you
But
never
that's my
retire.
take on it.
Hope you never retire. I think you guys bring life to our
I
project.
actually die. इसलिए
100%. Absolutely. Our projects get life to light. So I completely agree with you. Thank you so much, Pranav.
Thank you.
Well, Pooja, are you ready for your question?
Please go ahead.
So, Pooja, my question to you is, since lighting is gaining importance in today's times in the field of interior design and architecture, shouldn't there be more awareness created by us as a fraternity? Architects, designers, lighting designers, consultants. As a fraternity, I think it's very important for us to create that sort of awareness. Are you on the same page as I am? And if so, how?
100%. It's like actually thanks to Foy to taking this topic and giving lighting so much importance, because generally we have panel discussions of architecture, interior, sustainability, green, everything possible, but not with lighting. So
Yeah.
it's there is a limited. Of course, designers are aware, but till an extent, even designers are not aware till what extent a good lighting designer can play an important role in it. I mean, I have certain clients saying that lighting has to be fantastic. I said, okay, we need a lighting designer on board. Like, doesn't the architect do it all? We are like, no, not really. An architect can do it to a certain extent, but architect cannot do it all. So you
Yeah.
have a budget for MEP, you have a budget for everything, but clients itself are sometimes not aware to having a specific thing for a lighting designer. It's initially how, when in our field it began, like a contractor would do the interior design, and they would be like saying, contractor ही सब design कर देगा. I would say lighting is at that stage right now, which needs a lot of exposure from the fraternity as such. I think how we have designed magazines and everybody covering architecture projects, they should be even covering interior. They should be even covering lighting projects. I think when the awareness increases among the fraternity itself, and it would get eyeball storing of all our individual clients. So it's for a developer. If you have a developer as a client, it's very easy because they understand it still. But when it's an individual client, it takes time to explain them. And so, of course, we have lighting consultants on board for fewer projects, and fewer projects we don't have lighting consultants. So it works both ways. So I think as a team, when we work on it and when we showcase our projects, having lighting consultants credits, all that as a fraternity would definitely help. So I think it's very important that it's actually, as designers, helps our project, helps us visualize better. Like we're doing a large villa right now where we are having the skylight, but the way a lighting designer would guide us how to have the skylight falling in at what direction and what to block and what not to will definitely create the charm. We have a vision, we know what we want to do it, but to make that vision realize and happen, it cannot happen probably without a good lighting designer. So I would say it's very important.
Absolutely. And I also would add over there is, we had this conversation earlier when we were discussing it, that the amount of lights we use, I think Purvi mentioned this, that we On a project she had, the designer put up 60 lights, and it went
Yeah.
down to 34 lights later. When
Yeah.
they came on board. I think it's so important because we do, like Pranav said initially, we as designers and architects do tend to overdo it on lights, thinking that what if it becomes dim somewhere or doesn't look, that certain kind of thing doesn't come up. So being protective about it, we get a little bit crazy.
I agree to that, but as a design studio, when we started our lighting, I think I did mention that we started learning through lighting through photography. When we shot our initial sites, and we would see something would look flat, and some images would look very well, very. It had a dimension to it. It had a first, second, third, fourth, whatever dimension to it, And some projects where some images look flat, and that's how when we started learning lighting. So, like our studio since many years don't use when it was just the initial first two projects, we use lighting what is only required, minimal lighting. So I think it's the awareness growing will definitely make a lot of difference to the way interior designers use light.
I absolutely agree. And I agree with the media guys also featuring lighting design projects and not only
Absolutely.
beautiful looking spaces.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Pooja. Moving forward, our next question is for Purvi. Role of lighting designer seems to have a very minimal involvement in India. Now, Purvi, of course, you've worked internationally as well and are right now also in Germany working with architects, designers over there. You've worked over here in India. Your company is new. You'll started off. I'm sure you'll be the best person to tell us the comparison and how we, as a country or as a fraternity, where do we stand? Because I do feel that the involvement of a lighting designer or a consultant, like Pooja mentioned, is very minimal in our, unfortunately we have to actually convince the clients to actually get on board a lighting consultant or a designer, unless it's a major project. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, big question, Ali, aimed at me. I don't know. It's difficult to make a blanket statement, I think, on this front. But yes, definitely, I think we're a far way. We have a long way to go. But I think all my colleagues in the industry would agree that we've come a long way as well compared to, like, say, where we were even 5 years ago. Um, but I think it's a matter of time. No, it's as we spoke about earlier. How was interior design perceived 10 years ago? People would go to a contractor and say, "Acha bhaiya, ye kar do." Like, I don't need to get an interior designer on board. You do it. So it's a little bit like that. I think it's going to take some time. Uh, but if we had to break it down as say why I think we're lagging is I think commercial issue is of course, as Pooja rightly said, no, we don't have the budget for it because unfortunately lighting is considered or a lighting service is considered a luxury in the country, which is a total shame because it's not, right? Lighting is so basic. In fact, you'd probably optimize your design and your BOQ would go we would probably be much shorter than what it was earlier having a lighting design on board. So it's not about adding costs. In fact, you are optimizing your design and also having a fantastic ambience. So why not get a lighting designer on board? Um, I think awareness is also is a topic and resistance. Uh, for example, a 30-year-old architectural firm who's got it all well fueled, there's a certain structure to how the projects are done and it goes out. Suddenly, to have a lighting designer on board, this person's going to think many times to trust an external person to do their lighting for them, right? I think there is, because in my experience, all the people that have been really open to have a lighting designer on board have all been youngsters, like the newer generations. Pranav, what do you think? Do you agree with me? As a lighting.
I do in a certain way, but I'm just sharing my experience. And while you raise this question, I'm just going to go. I've got a couple of architecture studios. There are a couple of them. They are in the industry. I mean, they've been working for last 25 years, and we worked with them on one or two of their projects, and we are still working on. I mean, the design is going on for one other project. But yeah, entry into those studios which are kind of which have been there for since last 25-30 years, entry into those studios is a little difficult, but once you get into it, they know the value of the service. They can easily pick the importance of what we provide as a service to the client and the studio, and we are accepted. But rightly said, 80%, I would say more than 80% of our clients, architectural studios, are younger architectural studios, or younger firms. Yes.
Yeah.
Put you over there, I do feel like my dad's in the business for 40 years now. And in fact, yes, I agree that younger architects and designers are kind of, leading and taking on the lighting consultant or designer on board. My dad actually, on the contrary, has always been taking consultants and designers on board for his projects. But also because of the scale of the project or the character, I mean, the project itself, for hospitals, for healthcare facilities, for big commercial areas, it's taken. What I am trying to understand over here is why for small residentials, I'm talking about 3,000, 4,000 square feet spaces also, we need to have lighting consultants and designers. They spend almost 11, 12,000 rupees a square foot on designing their space, which is interiors, furnishing, styling. Styling has suddenly become such an important thing in our projects. If you see nowadays, everywhere we put up, because Instagram is on board, the media features, everywhere, everyone wants everything to look great. But the pity and the shame is that lighting makes the space in general come to life, and I completely agree. I'm not talking about only the the natural lighting, I'm talking about artificial lighting as well. Your moods are set on that, automation, everything. Today we are talking about smart homes. I think everything is related to it. So it's a pity that we don't really bring that to the surface level, and I think that's the whole challenge. That how do we do it? So yeah, sorry, I was not supposed to talk. I will go on to Padmini. Sorry, Purvi, you were saying something?
No. I just wanted to add to your point to say today you can even put in a little Bluetooth chip on each of your luminaires and very remotely, without any wiring, without breaking your ceiling, to put in control cables, you can control it on your phone. No?
Exactly.
And unless you educate this or transport this to your client's not going to know the possibility of this.
Right.
So I think
Right.
it's also our job to impart this, piece of knowledge or
Absolutely. I think
Please,
we
carry on.
also need to get ourselves at times. Na Pooja?
Yes.
Sometimes we also need to learn. I'm sure Padmini will also agree.
Yeah, I think half our energy goes in educating the client, and it's worth it. It's worth it because I think it's important. Today we've even become educators. So, I think when I start a project, I think my first 30% of my time and energy actually goes in educating the client about everything, whether it's lighting, whether it's automation, whether it's, the minimalism, whether it's not unnecessarily spending expensive materials, anything. Like less is more. So it actually takes a lot of energy, emotional energy from me to educate them. And believe me, that's the most difficult part of my project, but it's okay. But at the end of the day, the client understands. And I think that is something we need to do. If we want to create that kind of atmosphere, we have to educate them because nobody else will come and do it, so we have to do it.
Absolutely. Padmini, my next and the last question is to you. As an architect, would you compromise on certain design aspects with the lighting designer to accommodate? I have an example over here. I was talking to a lighting consultant just the day before, and he was telling me that he's on board with us, and he said, no, don't use so much black. I can't, illuminate it, and then there's no reflection and all of that jazz. So I was like, no, I'm not changing my design. These kind of challenges do come up with consultants in general. Whether it's a lighting designer or whether it's a structural engineer. I remember my structural engineer was almost 90. Unfortunately, lost him last year, but he's 90 years old, and the guy was fantastic with his work. He's actually yelled at my dad and me together that you cannot do this. Your design is crap and he is from his point of view, not aesthetically. But that made so much sense. Somewhere we do give in, sometimes we don't give in. So what's your take on that? Are these challenges something that you face?
Yeah, of course, there are challenges when you work as a team. There are different ideas, different perspectives, different point of views. But that's the beauty of working in a team. That's the whole idea of working in a team. Because each one brings something to the table. Each one brings a different perspective, which you probably wouldn't have thought of. So I don't know if the word compromise is the right word. I won't use the word compromise, but that sounds something very, that as if it's very negative. I want to use the word compromise, but saying that, I'll tell you. See, and I'm sure, I think Pooja is an architect, and even Purvi and sort of understand what I'm saying. See, what happens is, as an architect, when you start a project, okay, you have a concept for a project, you have an idea, a theme, okay, there's a concept for every project, whoever does, whichever, whether it's architecture or interior. So when we are designing, and as architects, you are trained to also design lighting to an extent. Unfortunately, I think architects are jack of all trades, but not necessarily master of all. Okay,
Right.
so we know a little bit of everything, but we definitely are not master of most of them. Okay, including structure, as you rightly pointed out, and also lighting. Now, what happens is, when we, as an architect, when we curate a space, when we design one, we have a vision for the lighting as well. We do have a vision, because when you design something, you design it in a holistic manner. That is textures, materials, space, proportions, experience, ambience. We have a vague idea. Now, when we work with a lighting consultant, when they come into the picture, see, lighting consultants add value to a space, because today we may know lighting, but we are not masters of it. So what a lighting consultant does is they add value. How do they add value? By the ambience, by probably also making it more energy efficient. They can also help to make because I do a lot of hotels and luxury homes, huge homes. So energy is a big factor. Okay, so energy efficiency, bills, how many gadgets, and that means that many bills. So actually the lighting consultant helps to control that. So energy efficiency, budgets, they actually bring down the cost of a project. I may be paying them a fee, but at the end of the day, you're recovering it from what you're saving from the project. Probably you land up saving more at the end of it. No, this is something you need to educate your clients, which I actually try and do. Most of the time we succeed, okay, but I'll tell you, I'll share interesting experience with you all, okay. So I was working in Milan. I studied in Milan. I worked there for 6 years, okay, in Italy, and we did projects. So every project there, even if it was a two-bedroom hall, I mean, I didn't do a two-bedroom hall. I was doing hotels there, but I remember doing a small boutique, and we had a lighting consultant on board. We had a lighting consultant, small boutique, okay. Now, when did a lighting consultant come on board? Once we had designed our space, we had a 3D view. We had the lighting consultant even before having our drawings, technical drawings, even before the MEP, the consultants, RCC guys came in, the lighting consultant came in. So then they, on our views, they did their, I don't know, dialects and I don't know what not they did, and they created beautiful effects. Okay, so basically, what the lighting consultant brings to the table, the lighting consultant comes to the architect and they enhance your concept. As long as they are doing that and they're working as a team and they bring a different, fresh perspective to the same concept, keeping the concept in mind, I don't think there is any issue, because just as you rightly said, there is the RCC consultant. An RCC consultant, so when he comes on board, he's working in sync with your proportion. You're right. Half the time I'm fighting with the RCC consultant. No, the beam depth has to be so much. The beam depth can't come lower. The ceiling will come lower. The MEP will come lower. Half my life I'm fighting with the RCC consultant and the MEP consultant.
Right.
But I never fight with a lighting consultant, because the lighting consultant is a
That brings
designer.
us back to Purvi and Pranav's space.
Yeah,
Good news for us.
because the lighting consultant is a designer. They are designers. They are not technical people. Now, RCC and MEP, they don't understand aesthetics. They don't understand experiences. They don't understand luxury. They are more concerned by the cable tray and the wire and the core and this. But lighting consultants are designers. They are also people who understand. We speak the same vocabulary. We speak the same language. So I don't think it's about a competition ever. I think we are working as a team, and they help they help us to enhance our concept. And when I came back to India, in fact, I came back to India 9 years back, and I remember after a year we started this resort, which I just presented to all of you. We started a resort project, and I was telling my client, we need this consultant, we need this consultant, we need this, I need a lighting consultant. Lighting consultant? You mean MEP consultant? I said, no. You mean electrical consultant? I said, no, lighting. What's that? So then again, educated this. They said, no, you do it. We trust you. We know we've seen your work, and there was in that project. Was there a lighting consultant? I said no. So okay, that was great. You don't need. And then I was like so down, and I said, okay, fine. At least they gave me the other 8 consultants. And then after 2 years, when the entire architecture took shape and when Taj decided to take over the project, Taj got interested and they wanted to take over the project, I grabbed the situation. I actually told them that, listen, guys, we don't have a lighting consultant on board. I would love to have a lighting consultant on board. They said, okay. And I used Taj as a channel to get to the client and get me a lighting consultant on board, which happened. In fact, T2 Consultants was a lighting consultant for that project. So can you imagine? And I when I came back, I was actually looking out. I didn't know anybody because I came back after 6 years gap. I didn't know who the consultants. I was looking out for lighting consultants. I couldn't find any. I didn't know who are the lighting consultants and where they were. They were all like, I don't know where they were hiding. And thanks to FOED, okay, because last year, FOED has brought up this lighting issue. So today, I think I know at least 15 lighting consultants, and I'm not counting Pranav and Purvi. Now I know 17 lighting consultants. Okay, so they are all, thanks to forums like FOED and things that they're bringing them in the forefront. Otherwise, I was like, where are you guys hiding? And last year, I remember when I met all of them, like, where were you guys? I've been like looking out for lighting consultants. I didn't find anyone. But saying that, so it's great. FOED is giving a great platform. Coming back to your question, no, I don't think it's a compromise. I don't like the word compromise. I think, but in fact, I always have a smile on my face when I'm working with the lighting consultant because they come with a fresh perspective to the project and they enhance my concept and they make my work a little less, So I at least don't have to, there's one domain that I have to think about less. I don't have to go and get into lighting and all that. So I think, if you work as a great team and if you have the same vision and if you respect the concept, see, the concept is the key. Okay, that is important. If you are true to the concept of the project, I think it's a great, and we speak the same language. So I don't see it as a, bending down or moving backward. And for your example, somebody said that black, if somebody would have told me that your entire space is black, I can't do any lighting to it. I said, that's a challenge. That's your challenge as a lighting consultant. So, instead of us changing the concept, let's see how you can treat this. So, challenges are great. That's what I would tell them. And I just made an interesting observation, just to make up our case clear. I mean, I'm speaking on behalf of everybody if I can. Why do you need a lighting consultant, right? What is the importance of a lighting consultant? If you just see the screen, if you see all our 5 images, viewers, please notice, if you just see our images, you can see Pranav, like how the entire background is so black and the light is focused on his face. You can see Purvi, how well the light is focused on her face. And
Very nicely put.
The design is like flat.
Look at 3 of us, Pooja, you and we just got a
architects and designers, our screens are like just flat light. It's absolutely flat light. These two looking pretty and handsome, thanks to all the focus of the light they have created for themselves. This is the difference. This is the difference. This is why you need a lighting.